Since the dawn of time, humanity has reached beyond the veil, longing to understand the divine. But what if parts of Jesus' story were never fully revealed? Hidden in the heart of the Vatican may lie truths that could change everything. Welcome to Bible Study 24H, a place where questions are not feared and faith is deepened through exploration. If you're ready to go beyond tradition and discover spiritual truths long buried in history, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a moment of revelation. The Vatican's secret archives likely contain evidence of Jesus' lost years, his travels to the East, and possibly even a secret lineage that has been deliberately concealed. These hidden truths represent profound spiritual revelations with the potential to change our perspective on Western religious tradition. If you enjoy content that helps you grow spiritually, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our community for more inspiration. Let's get started. Beneath the corridors of the Vatican lies one of the world's most mysterious repositories of knowledge, the Vatican's secret archives. This isn't merely a library, it's a fortress of history housing thousands of documents spanning centuries of human experience. While officially renamed the Vatican Apostolic Archives in 2019, the mystery surrounding its contents remains impenetrable. The archives contain approximately 53 miles of shelving with documents dating back to the 8th century. While the Vatican maintains these are primarily administrative records, historians and researchers have long speculated about what else might be hidden within these hallowed walls. Access to these archives is severely restricted. Even approved scholars face significant limitations on what they can view. The Vatican claims these restrictions exist to preserve ancient documents, but this explanation has never fully satisfied those who question what might be concealed from public knowledge. These archives particularly intrigue scholars and spiritual seekers because they likely contain information about Jesus that differs significantly from the canonical narrative. The collection presumably includes eyewitness accounts from those who knew him, records of teachings deliberately excluded from the Bible, and documents revealing aspects of his life that the Church has deemed too controversial for the faithful. One of the greatest mysteries in Christian history concerns what biblical scholars call the missing years or lost years of Jesus. The canonical Gospels tell us almost nothing about Jesus between his childhood and the beginning of his ministry around age 30. This significant gap has fueled centuries of speculation. Traditional Christianity offers little explanation for these missing years, suggesting Jesus simply lived as a carpenter in Nazareth. However, ancient texts and historical records hint at a far more extraordinary reality. Jesus likely traveled extensively during this period, studying with spiritual masters in Egypt, India, and perhaps even Tibet. We all face moments when traditional teachings seem incomplete, leaving us with several spiritual questions that conventional wisdom cannot answer. During these times, discovering the truths about Jesus' journey can provide the proper understanding we seek. This is exactly what Banned Secrets, the Lost Knowledge of Jesus, offers, a path to clarity and wisdom through his revelations. This ebook goes into his prophecies and offers insight into what lies ahead. It's available for free in the pinned comment. Grab it now before the edition's gone. In the 19th century, Russian explorer Nicholas Nadovich discovered Buddhist manuscripts in Tibet's Himas Monastery describing a teacher named Isa who bore striking similarities to Jesus. According to these texts, this teacher from the West studied with Buddhist and Hindu masters before returning to his homeland to share his wisdom. Similarly, certain traditions in India speak of a prophet from the West who studied yogic practices and meditation before returning to teach his people. The parallels between these accounts and the life of Jesus are undeniable. These Eastern journeys would explain the remarkable similarities between Jesus' teachings and Eastern philosophies. His emphasis on inner transformation, compassion, and the direct experience of the divine mirrors Buddhist and Hindu concepts. His statement that the kingdom of God is within you aligns perfectly with Eastern understandings of enlightenment. The Church conceals such information because it fundamentally challenges the narrative of Christianity as a unique and divinely revealed religion. Jesus' studies with Eastern masters suggest his wisdom drew from pre-existing traditions rather than being exclusively divine revelation. In 325 CE, Emperor Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea, an event that would fundamentally alter the course of Christianity. Prior to this council, Christianity existed as a diverse collection of beliefs and interpretations about Jesus and his message. Some saw him as a great spiritual teacher, others as a divine being, and still others as a political revolutionary. Constantine, seeking to unify his empire under a single religion, needed a standardized version of Christianity. The Council of Nicaea provided exactly that, establishing core doctrines that would become Orthodox Christianity while condemning alternative interpretations as heresy. One of the Council's most significant decisions was affirming the divinity of Jesus, declaring him to be of the same substance as God rather than a separate created being. This theological position wasn't universally accepted among early Christians, but it became the foundation of mainstream Christianity. Perhaps more importantly, the Council began the process of determining which texts would be considered canonical. Many early Christian writings were excluded from what would become the New Testament, texts that offered different perspectives on Jesus and his teachings. Remember, the exploration of Jesus' Eastern journeys awaits in our free ebook. Check the pinned comment to claim your copy before it's gone. The Gnostic Gospels, discovered at Nag Hammadi in 1945, reveal a Christianity vastly different from the one that emerged from Nicaea. These texts emphasize personal knowledge, gnosis over faith, spiritual awakening over salvation through the Church, and direct experience of the divine over reliance on religious authorities. There are sayings credited to Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas, which is probably the most well-known of these books. These sayings are about finding the divine within oneself instead of through outside institutions. One passage reads, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." Such teachings threaten the hierarchical structure of the emerging church. Individuals connecting directly with the divine through inner knowing would have little need for priests, bishops, or even the church itself. Among the most controversial aspects of early Christianity was the role of women, particularly Mary Magdalene. The canonical Gospels mention her as a follower of Jesus who witnessed his crucifixion and resurrection. However, apocryphal texts suggest her importance may have been far greater. The Gospel of Philip, another Nag Hammadi text, describes Mary Magdalene as Jesus' companion, whom he often kissed on the mouth. The Greek word used for companion, koinonos, was commonly used to refer to a spouse or partner. This has led some scholars to suggest Mary Magdalene may have been Jesus' wife, rather than merely a disciple. The Gospel of Mary, discovered in 1896, portrays her as a key disciple who received special teachings from Jesus that the male disciples did not. In this text, Peter expresses jealousy of Mary's close relationship with Jesus, clearly resentful of her preferred status. The Church diminished Mary Magdalene's role due to the patriarchal structure that came to dominate Christianity. A tradition acknowledging female spiritual leadership would have undermined the exclusively male priesthood that the Church established. A knowledge of these sacred relationships and truths can be yours today. Our complimentary ebook reveals even more insights. Download your copy from the pinned comment while supplies last. Moreover, she, as Jesus' wife, would humanize him in ways uncomfortable for early church leaders who sought to emphasize his divinity over his humanity. One idea that has caused a lot of debate is that Jesus and Mary Magdalene may have had children, starting a family line that lives on to this day. According to some traditions, after the crucifixion, a pregnant Mary Magdalene fled to what is now southern France, where she gave birth to a child. This theory gained widespread attention through books like Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and later the Da Vinci Code, which suggested that certain European noble families, particularly the Merovingian dynasty of France, might be descendants of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Proponents point to curious anomalies in Renaissance art, particularly Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, where the figure traditionally identified as John the Apostle appears distinctly feminine. Some interpret this as Leonardo's coded reference to Mary Magdalene's presence at the Last Supper. The idea that Jesus might have had descendants challenges core church doctrines about his nature and mission. If Jesus was fully divine, yet lived as a married man with children, it would transform our understanding of his incarnation and purpose. Also, if there are straight descendants of Jesus, they would have a very strong claim to spiritual power, maybe even more powerful than the papacy. This possibility alone might explain why the Church would go to extraordinary lengths to suppress such information. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the late 1940s revealed the existence of a Jewish sect called the Essenes, who lived in communities near the Dead Sea during Jesus' lifetime. These scrolls, hidden for nearly 2,000 years, provide unprecedented insight into the spiritual environment that shaped Jesus' world. Our gift to dedicated seekers, a free ebook that goes into these mysteries, is available now. A few copies remain, so secure yours through the pinned comment below. The Essenes practice communal living, ritual purification through baptism, and shared meals that bear striking similarities to early Christian practices. They awaited a Messiah figure and emphasized direct spiritual connection rather than temple-based worship. Some scholars suggest Jesus may have been influenced by or even belonged to the Essenes during his missing years. His teachings on purity of heart, spiritual brotherhood, and the corrupt nature of the temple authorities parallel Essene beliefs. The similarity between Essene practices and early Christianity reveals important truths about Jesus' spiritual formation. His development within this Jewish mystical tradition indicates his message emerged from existing spiritual currents rather than being wholly unprecedented. The eventual opening of Vatican archives will inevitably transform our understanding of Jesus and Christianity. These revelations will confirm many of the theories explored in this presentation. For many believers, such revelations will initially seem threatening, challenging long-held beliefs about Jesus' nature and mission. Yet a more human Jesus, one who sought wisdom from Eastern masters, who loved deeply enough to marry, who emerged from existing spiritual traditions, ultimately offers a more accessible and inspiring figure than a distant deity. The truth need not diminish Jesus' significance. His travels to India or Tibet demonstrate his extraordinary thirst for wisdom. His marriage and children affirm the sacredness of human love and family. His incorporation of insights from multiple spiritual traditions highlights the universal nature of divine truth. Throughout history, spiritual understanding has evolved as new information has come to light. The time has arrived for a more complete picture of Jesus, one that honors both his divinity and his humanity, his uniqueness, and his connection to the wisdom traditions that came before him. Truth doesn't threaten faith, it deepens it. A more human Jesus, who loved, learned, and lived fully, may be the very light we need in today's world. If this message stirred something in you, we invite you to stay with us at Bible Study 24H. Here, Every question is welcome, and every heart is honored. Hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who seeks truth. Let's walk this journey together, one insight at a time.